Welcome to Fox International, and this is what we do. So let's take a look at how we do it.
Rod down. You just put so much pressure on them. The takes do literally come out of the blue.
As you say, getting that rod tip down just to keep that line down, get it out the snags. I think you've got it clear, haven't you?
It seems to be coming a little bit more freely.
Yeah.
Thing is, it's out of one snag, it's into the next one, isn't it?
That's right.
Over that baited patch again. Come out. It's either a small catfish or a very, very hard fighting carp. Things you get them out of these snags here and then they
kite round to the left. And
they hug round to the left.
Yeah. The other two lines okay, Tom, or do you want me to dip the rods?
No, they're fine. It's still underneath them. I think there is a bit of clearance underneath them. Yeah, you can just see the snags out there.
Yes.
Just see them moving.
Just bouncing, yeah.
It is moving though, there's the fish. Looks like it's got a twig attached to it as it goes. Took me by surprise when that one went.
I think it took us both by surprise.
I was just getting the PVA bags ready to recast, and oh yeah, there it is. Look, it's just gone into the snags there. Might even
just going to drop a single bag out. You were saying?
Yeah, I was just going to drop the bag back up there. I think I might have to go round or wade up for this one.
Locked up?
Well, it's just hugged the side of the snags, isn't it? I know I can wade it down here, so I can get out to the fish. I can feel it on there still.
You're right on the other line, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's underneath it now. That's what they do. They just have a tendency just to dive straight in under them. It's about 6 foot under them, so they do come.
It's fairly clear under there, though, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I found out yesterday when I waded out how deep it is.
Yeah.
So I know there's plenty of depth under there to get them round.
Now he's moving into open water again, isn't he? Good old scrap, don't they?
Well, this is the only one that has gone out that way, so. Oh yeah, big set of shoulders on him. Oh yes. Oh yes, he's got a big set of shoulders on him. I'll just walk him over the net, yeah?
Yep.
As soon as I just make a lunge for it.
No, he's not over.
Come on. Don't go any further out. You don't want to go further out. It's tired, it's just got to do that last few little kicks in it just to.
No, I didn't want to lunge at him when he was close to the net.
No. Really got power this one. When it wants to go, there's nothing I can do to stop it.
It's a serious set of shoulders, isn't there, as you said? Get up.
I've not had one that fights this hard before.
What rod is it you're on, Tom?
This is a 12 foot 3.5 FX2, so it's got quite a bit of power in. I think you You definitely need the
You
power.
need it, absolutely.
Go on in.
Yep, he's in.
Yes. It's a good one. It's a good fish too.
Very good fish.
Very good fish.
Yep. That is superb.
3-0.
Absolutely superb. That's 30 pounds.
Oh.
Pop the hook in the net, Tom.
Yeah, the hook's out. He's already out.
Excellent.
If you can do this, it's safer to do so, right? Because if you've got a load of line hanging around on your unhooking mat, the fish goes mad.
Does it? So I was most impressed with the rod. I mean, it's the FX2, which is an extreme top-of-the-range distance rod, but it was just so forgiving and so perfect under the rod top as well.
Yeah.
And when that fish took off,
That's
and
much
went
big.
for those snags in the edge, looks every bit 35 to me, I have to say.
It may even be bigger than that.
Maybe, indeed, maybe even bigger than that.
Very big fish.
36.12. 36.11, 36.12.
Isn't a bad morning.
That's not a bad morning's work at all.
Just
that
shows
is,
it. Even on the spod, you can get the bigger ones going.
That is an absolutely awesome fish, an incredible brace of
Incredible.
carp. Right, let's get the camera and
Do
get
a
a few
few
shots of it,
stills.
Tom.
Right. Slip her back. It's just pulled onto the gravel now.
Marker float time then, Tom.
Oh yes.
Well, we've seen you can catch him. What makes your setup so effective then? You know, enabling you to find all these spots and fish so effectively.
Well, you also got to have a buoyant float, because when you're fishing in weed, there's nothing worse than finding the spot and then getting a bit of weed caught around here and you're not being able to pop the float up. Also, tangling's an issue as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the slick ring kit itself is
it just runs up and down the line so freely.
Yeah.
And plus with the float, with the buoyant, with the hollow flight on it,
Yeah.
it's so buoyant. I mean, that will come up in most situations.
Yeah.
And you could pull that through dense weed onto a clear spot, and it would pop straight up.
Yeah. And what advantage does that lead give you? I mean, it's a crazy looking thing, isn't it? But
With well, it's got the 4 little bobbles on it. It just rolls along the bottom. Obviously, rolls along the bottom a lot more.
yeah, and that's transmitting the signals up the line.
Yeah, it comes straight through the braided main line. They're just a good lead to to feature find with, really.
And the Exocet float itself, it's very aerodynamic. It's going to allow you to cast the distances.
Yeah,
you need.
because of the shape of it. I mean, it's just sort of like tapered, and that lays up the side of the line like that. When that goes out as one, and there's no way that this can come around and tangle up. So, you know, provided you feather it down when it hits the water, that'll land like that, and it'll just drag along the bottom like that.
All right, mate. Well, come and show us how to tie it all up then, yeah?
Okay.
Top man. All right, let's have a look at the setups we've got then.
Yeah, well, it couldn't be any simpler, really. Everything comes in a kit, ready to go. There's no need for any errors.
Right, and I see 2 different sizes of floats, a smaller one, the dart, for the more subtle, the more subtle marking up, and the larger Exocet for all the distance
the
work.
distance, yeah.
Different colour flights for different light levels, and all the rest of the stuff that you're now going to tie up and show us how it goes together.
Oh yes. Let's just start off to get the stiff boom with it. It comes with the SIC ring on the top, which slides up and down the line easily. That goes on first. Then you get in the kit, you get a bead, just to stop any tangles really, and to keep the knot protected. That then goes on like so. And you get a little buffer bead which pulls in tight to the quick clip that you get with it. That goes on like that.
You sometimes need a needle, don't you, when
Well,
you're using
especially
braid?
if braid, it frays at the ends, doesn't it? And once that's on like that, then you get the little a little quick clip with it, that just so you can just attach the 2 marker floats.
And like you say, that eases it, and you're not messing around, cutting
Cutting it,
things
yeah.
off. And
Then
tying
the
it
leader
different
gets
knots.
shorter and your clips get lost and stuff like that. At least like that, you can change the floats if you want to. Just snip that down. The float just clicks round on that. So it sits down there. Pull it all down. B just sits in there to protect it, that pulls down. And that's how to get the float on.
And the same goes with the lead as with the float. You can
Yeah,
change
it's
the
on-
floats
it's on
and
a-
your lead
on-
size.
yeah. If the wing gets out, you can put a heavier lead on and so on and so forth. Clicks around there like that. Then you've got the long silicone sleeve, just pulls down over it because the shape of that is aerodynamic and it can't get tangled around anything. And that is how it comes.
It really, really couldn't be simpler, and it couldn't really be more effective.
No, that's the perfect setup. And also if you're fishing over the weed, in the pack as well, you've got a quick clip on the SRC ring, that pops off, and you get a buoyant foam ball, that pushes through there, comes like that, click it back onto the ring, over there, pull that up tight, pull the silicone sleeve up to keep everything smooth and no ends of knots hanging out. And if you want to use weed, that'll keep it buoyant above the weed.
Brilliant, Tom. Well, thanks for that.
Perfect.
Top man. Right, Tom, we've seen the end setup and how effective that can be, but the whole setup can be made that much more effective by using the right rod, the right reel, and the right line. So can you talk us through your setup?
Yeah, you got to use the right gear. I mean, the braid itself, it's a no stretch new Exocet braid. It's very, very thin, so obviously you can get the distance with it. And you go onto the FS 12,000 reel. You've got the free spool facility as well, so when you're letting your line out when you find your depth, you've got your 6 and your 12-inch markers on the Horizon SFD marker float rod. It's got a nice FX reel seat, which is nice and comfortable in the hand. You've got the titanium Gunsmoke rings, which emits the vibrations through the line, through to you, to your rod tip, so you know exactly what's going on the lake bed. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's important to have a big pit workhorse reel because you're going to be using this as much as you are any of the other reels. So it's just, I mean, that is what I would say is a perfect marker float setup.
Good man. Well, we'll leave you to find the spots and we'll come back and find out how many carp you've caught off them later on, Tom. Thanks very much indeed.
Tom, you're in.
Yes.
That was a result of all that work you did with the marker earlier, I bet. What did you find in the end?
Well, I found a nice little gravel patch out there. Just goes to show, doesn't it? A few hours with a marker float. And the rewards are definitely there.
I know when I've fished with you before, you are just so precise in finding the right sort of bottom to actually present a bait on. I mean, why? I mean, what is it about just getting it so right that makes it work?
Well, I mean, you could be inches away from where the carp are, but it's no good being where they are. You've got to be on the fish.
Sure. And really tight bait into the spot as well?
Yeah, I just put about 10 spods up there and a nice scattering of Empen boilies.
Right.
And I'll just flick this one out onto it and it's gone.
So tight baiting onto a really nice little gravel spot you found.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Looks like a decent fish as well.
Yeah, it looks like a 20.
It's absolutely everything.
Yes.
Well done, fella. Top man.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Excellent. That is a good fish.
What a
That is
result.
a very good fish.
Oh, he's into 20
Cracking.
pounds.
Oh yeah, cracking looking fish as well. Right, what have we got?
25-1.
I was going to say about 25. Excellent, well done. Super, let's get it back. Nice. Brilliant, yeah, looking good. Looking very good.
You found your spot, Tom, you want to fish, and you're fishing at long range in here, and there's really only one way to do it accurately, and that's via the spod.
Via the spod.
And I noticed you got the new Exocet spod on there. Can you just talk us through it?
Yes, they are quite a large spod. They've got an external taper. They just cut through the air so cleanly, and I mean they fly dead straight. You've got a super buoyant nose cone which unscrews, so you can change the colours. You've got the very stiff boom section, so when you're digging it in your bait, the last thing you want is that getting caught in your bait. When you lift the line up, all your bait falls out. They've also got an insert as well to make a parallel bore, so when you are fishing with boilies, you've not got to worry about when you're winding it back in. They've all interlocked, and you've done a cast and you've got no boilie out there.
Which is a bit of the holy grail at the moment,
Yeah.
because the ability isn't there to do that at the moment, not
No.
with larger baits.
Not any other spot on the market, the boilies stay in there, whereas this one, you place that in there, screw it up tight with a nose cone, and then you can use the boilies in that, and you'll have no problem with
And
them
it's
coming
super
out.
buoyant and the bait's ejected immediately.
Yeah, straight up.
Now, that is the perfect spod.
Yes, it is,
But
yeah.
by the same token, you need the perfect setup to get it to deliver it where you want it to,
Yeah,
to go.
definitely.
So can you talk us through your setup itself?
Yeah, well, they're a lot heavier than any lead you're going to cast. They're probably, when you load up, they're 5-6 ounces. You've got quite a beefy rod. I think this one is a 4¼ pound test curve, 12-foot Horizon SFD spod rod. You've got your 50mm butt rings. Again, you've got the big 12,000 mag reel, because it is a workhorse and this is going to be used a lot. If you're spodding regularly throughout the day, it will be used more than what you
I
carp
noticed as
rod is.
opposed to your marker float, you haven't got a free spool facility.
No,
on that one.
because
that
it
makes it lighter.
Yeah, it's a weight thing, isn't it? It's a lot of winding you've got to do, and if you're fishing at 100+ yards, you're doing quite a few winds. A nice comfortable reel seat,
Yeah.
and just a big beefy rod just to get it out there.
And last by no means least, you've got a finger stool on.
Yes, when you're fishing with a big weight like a spod, or you're fishing with braid, it can be savage, and I've seen it in some cases where it's slipped and cut to the bone.
Yeah, I've seen some
I've had it
awful
cut into me, and it does hurt. And you can only cast, well, I only cast with the one finger.
Yeah.
And if the first 10 casts, you do your finger in,
Yeah.
it's your session gone.
Okay, let's start with the emp then, Tom.
Emp.
Deliver us some of that and then we'll get on to the boilies.
Take the insert out, boilie insert out. When spodding, you see a lot of people fill the spods right up to the top, and it does affect them massively. There's no rush to get your bait out, and if you just fill it second hold down, which is where the insert goes up to anyway, that's the perfect weight for it.
Yeah, nice little tip that, mate.
I have quite a long drop, normally down to the spigot. Just line it up where I want to go.
And that flew like an absolute arrow.
Dead straight. I mean, I know we've got a slight headwind, but it just straight up, straight cut straight through it into where
And
it
they
went.
can cause a disturbance, spods, and you know, I've noticed you're casting to the clip there, which allows it to settle down gently.
That's
on
why
the
they come for
surface.
light. There's nothing worse than you're fishing next to someone and all you hear all night is budush, where the spods are just landing straight in.
Yeah.
That's what your line clip on your reels for. Put your line under that. Every time you're on the same spot every time, your bait's falling down and you just got a constant stream of bait. Straight to the top. Sometimes they'll get caught under. Every spod does it. Just let the line go slack, let them pop back up to the surface, and they come back in like a dream.
Right, I'm a boilie fisherman, and it's not very often that carp see boilies at 100, 130 yards out because we haven't had the ability to deliver them.
Yeah.
So can you just give us a quick demo of that?
Unscrewing the nose cone, put the insert in, then you have the parallel inner, which for the boilies is absolutely perfect because they're not going to get caught, and you can put mixed sizes out as well. Just fill it up just to the top of the cylinder. I always put a little bit of water in just to give it a bit of weight.
That, for me, is heaven. Boilies
To fish
at range.
boilies at that range, it's not something the carp see every day. Just give it a few seconds, a few little jolts, just to get them out.
Again, just slapping
And even
it
with the
off.
insert in, it comes to the top like a normal, like the spod without the insert. Everything out. Not only is the parallel bore good for the boil, it's also good for the particles as well. And it comes just there, just as a second hold down. When you're fishing with the particles or the boilers, it's important to put the water into it, just to give it a bit of weight, just so you can get the distance.
And it simply doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's go and catch a few, Tom.
Yeah, where do you reckon put the bait?
Just, I mean, like.
I don't believe it, Tom. 3 nets full of carp and he just had another take off the same spot again.
Just goes to show, doesn't it, when you get the old bait in the right place and you get the spodding in.
I mean, we said it was an absolutely perfect morning for it, the way the lights changed, the way the wind's coming down here. God, they're stacked up out there like breeze blocks, mate. And what was the rig? Just a snowman with a...
Yeah, a size 5 SSBP. It's quite a big hook, but then you're fishing near some snags.
Yeah.
I mean, they're quite a strong hook. Well, in fact, they're a very, very strong hook.
Oh,
I've never ever had
strong
one
hook.
straighten out on me.
Incredibly sharp as well. Once
Yeah.
they're in, you get such a good hook hold.
It's got a 3.5 ounce distance lead. It's just a bit of weight, really. It's
Yeah.
not a far track, but when they do pick the bait up, it's nice to have a bit of weight just to set the hook.
And the hook length, just a short length of Cortex.
Yeah, 25-pound Cortex.
Yeah, I love the way watching your takes, Tom. The spool doesn't fly, that the rod actually lurches forward on the take.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be leaving tackle in the fish.
No, quite right.
I'm fishing within 6 foot of the snags.
And those rods, I'm just so impressed.
Yeah, they've got a lovely bend on them. And when you're out there like that, you can give them a bit. Plus you've got the big pit reels where you've got the mag reel, which does out when you're trying to crank them out.
Yeah.
It's nothing worse than you've got a little reel and
No,
you're
you've got
spinning
that,
forever and you're not making any line. You've got, as soon as you're
you've
onto
got
them,
that cranking power and you're just making an instant impression on them.
just hit that weed bed there. So I can have a nice fish,
It does look like another nice fish, doesn't it?
another mirror. He's a good fish he is, isn't he?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yes. Nice one.
4 nets, 4 carp. Well done, sir.
Cheers. That's just goes to show, doesn't it, that when they're on the bait.
When they're on the bait and they're having it, you can expect fish, well, all the
yeah.
time. That's a lot of it.
Right. Ready?
I've got the rod. Yeah, I'm ready when you are. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, that's a very, very good fish. That is a really good hook hold, Tom. Those snowmen really do go in.
Yeah, because of the pop-up balancing out the bait, they take them right back.
As you say, they're
Size
awesome.
5 SSBP, that's buried almost down to the eye. It was never coming off that one.
Super sharp, super strong, and absolutely awesome hook holds. And as you said, just a short Cortex hook length.
Lead core leader,
Lead core leader.
Distance
and a
lead.
distance lead.
that's it.
Very, very simple setup, but incredibly effective. And the way that fish fought, I mean, that hook hold was going nowhere. You can see where the power on that fish came from. I mean, look at the size of the rudder on that. That is a seriously awesome carp. Let's see what we've got. You're heavy to me.
It's 30, 32,
I thought it would have been heavier.
looks it, 32, 32.4.
It's
Sort
heavier.
of flicking about. 32.4 will do. Ready?
We've looked at the spodding and now we'll take a closer look at the more traditional ways of baiting up. This is the Fox Rangemaster throwing stick. They come in 3 different sizes and you need to use the size relevant to the size of bait you're using to stop them banging up the shaft and reducing the range you can go on. There is no better design than the original design for a throwing stick. It is the most effective way of doing it. And great for scattering boilies, and being a boilie fisherman, it's ideal for me at range. A couple of quick tips before we finish. Air dry your boilies before you put them down the stick, because it'll stop them breaking up, but they're spinning at a hell of a rate of knots and they can break up. And secondly, before you do it, just run some water down the shaft, flick out the excess, and that eases the transition of boilies as it leaves the stick. Right, let's have a quick look at some catapults. I'm sure you're all aware of the Fox Power Guard catapults. They've been in the range now for a couple of years. Obviously, there's the knuckle guard. Stops the back of your hand getting frapped up by an errant piece of elastic. And secondly, you have the ability to change the pouches you're using and the strength of the elastic very quickly, which saves you having to cart around a load of different catapults in your luggage. Ideal.
That was a serious cast, Chilly.
What are you doing?
Tell you what, that's not the same line I saw you using last time we fished together. You've gone on something new.
Yeah, I have. This is the new Fox Aquos line.
Okay.
It's part of the new line programme that we're doing at the moment, and it's made quite a difference to my fishing, to be quite honest with you.
In what sort of respects?
Well, the line I'm using here is £20 Aquos, and it's an incredibly low diameter line. For example, the £15 line you got there is 0.309 in diameter, and what it means is I've got £20 line that casts like an absolute dream.
If it's that low diameter, what about abrasion resistance though? Because normally you worry with a low diameter line, you just think weed bed, snags.
Without a doubt, it's, you know, and that was the initial concern for me. I admit that, but at this moment in time, I'm on a syndicate. It's very harsh fishing, very weedy. You know, there's lots of islands, and I haven't had a single problem.
Brilliant. I take it low stretch.
Well,
low
there's
memory.
minimal stretching. There's no pigmentation in the line itself either. Now, the low stretch for a kick-off with £20 line allows me to compress the rod fully and get the distance I want. And while we're talking about distance, it's, you know, a lot of the fisheries now ban leaders, you know, and it's difficult to get the range safely. You know, you don't want to be cracking leads off around the lake. There's a 5/8 lead on the end of there, and that's £20 line, and I can just put that over the horizon with the powerful gear that I'm using.
But if you want to scale down, you've got 15, you've got 12, and you've got 10 in the range as well, I see.
Exactly, I mean, it covers every option as long as you're not using massive leads. You know, it increases your distance massively.
Brilliant.
And one other massive advantage of this line, especially in the present climate where waters are getting weedier and weedier and weedier. Very often, normal nylon sinks like a brick. You know, it goes through the water. This stuff stays up on the surface,
So you
not
can actually
for ages.
mend your line.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
mend your line,
Yep.
and then it will sink down. And that in itself is a massive. You're not picking up bundles of weed on your line when you're trying to mend it. And all in all, it's a very, very versatile line, and one that I use now in most situations.
Sounds good to me, but I know a lot of the other lads fishing around here today are using something different, so I think I'm going to walk around the lake and see what everyone else is up to.
It's amazing. Line is a hugely personal thing, and I bet
indeed.
you a pound to a pinch of salt, everybody's going to say something different.
Well, you go bag a whacker, I'm going to go have a look, mate.
Good man.
See you later.
See you later, boy.
Just been round in Chilly Swim, he's been telling me about the new Fox line programme.
All right.
And I think what you might be using there is my fluorocarbon barbel line. I think that might be the Illusion. But I hear it might be slightly different.
It is, to be honest with you. Yeah, we've just been working on a new fluorocarbon main line called Illusion XS.
Okay, what's the difference?
Well, basically, it is 10% lower diameter
Right.
in ratio to the breaking strain, and it's a lot suppler. As technology's moved on in manufacturing, we've been able to achieve this with various other manufacturers to achieve a much superior Illusion line than we've done previously.
So why are you actually using it in the situation that you're fishing in now?
Well, as you can see, I'm in a nice quiet corner in stealth mode. There's a few fish knocking about. There's not a lot of features or underwater snags, so there's not a lot to hold the fish here.
Right.
So the last thing I want to do is spook them.
Yep.
So I'm just fishing very slack, 18-pound fluorocarbon. It's going to follow the contours of the lake bed, and hopefully they won't spook the carp and they'll stay here and hopefully pick up one of my baits.
And it's obviously available in lower breaking strains as well, a 15, a 12, a 10.
Yeah, 10, 12, 15 and 18 pound. I mean, to give you an example, the new 18 pound Illusion XS is the same diameter as the previous Illusion in 15 pound.
Wow, and abrasion resistance still as good? Because the old Illusion was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, 10% lower diameter and at least the same abrasion resistance.
Can't wait to try it, mate. And I hope you bag one this evening.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
cheers, Sean.
Cheers, Ian.
I've been going around all the boys looking at the various lines they've been using in the situations they're fishing in. I think you're on the new soft steel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's only just coming out. Cracking bit of stuff. I mean, I've always been a fan of soft steel anyway. This is the new version. It's called the XS. Completely changed the manufacturer now. Before, like I say, loved it as a line, abrasive resistant.
That was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah. Diameter was a little bit on the big side, but it's now been reduced by about 20%, the diameter.
Right.
So it makes a superb casting line. It's a lot more supple than the original one as well. Abrasive resistant is as good as, even though the diameter is lower. So
And
absolute cracking
still
line.
available in that wonderful camo finish
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. I mean, at the two, I prefer the camo anyway. I mean, both the same lines, but I just like that added little edge with the camo. When you look at the camo, again, this has changed. The colours in it now are a lot more vivid, so it gives you a much more
I mean,
defined.
it's the same adaptive camo Pantones that used in the lead core and the entire range.
That's it, exactly the same.
Yeah.
You've got 4 colour breaks there over a metre. So again, in any sort of angling situation, you're breaking up that visual line, you know. It's like all lake beds, unless you're fishing on a sandpit, for example, they're all got different colour breaks with silk pockets and gravel and all the rest of it, weed. So, like I say, it breaks up brilliantly. So that's certainly my chosen line out
And I
of
think
two.
the camo is exactly the same diameter as the solid colour as
Exactly
well,
the same. So, you know, it hasn't lost anything by having these colours put into it. Abrasive resistance is exactly the same. It's the same line, bar the fact you've got.
Lower diameter, cast better, that's got the colours in as well.
Yeah, superb. It's a superb improvement on a superb line already. So
Brilliant.
I shall carry to use this for, I think, a long time. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to go around the corner now and see young Tom Maker. He's been getting a few fish. I know he's been on the braid, so he's fishing in quite a snaggy situation over there. So I'm going to go around and see what he's using.
All right, then. Well,
Okay,
nice
see you
to
later,
again.
Steve.
See you later. Go out, mate. Thanks.
Hi, Tom.
You all right?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good.
Now, when you were playing those fish earlier, I noticed you were using braid. I've just been going around all the lads on the lake. I know you've been using braid. I guess it's probably the 20-pound Horizon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the 20-pound Horizon. I mean, it's no stretch, and when you're fishing that tight to snags, you don't want any stretch.
Absolutely.
You know, as soon as something happens that end, you want it transmitted to this end. So if the bobbin judders, you know, if the fish has just like touched your line or whatever, and as soon as you get a bite, you're on the rod, the spool, you walk it down. Whereas if you had a mono in that situation, you've got the stretch. I mean, 80 yards, you've probably got a few yards of stretch.